All right. Distinguished head of delegations of 14 AIF, representative of ASEAN's Secretariat, and all delegates, it is an honor to have all of you gathered here at this forum in Malaysia. Welcome and selamat datang to Malaysia. This forum is a perfect avenue to promote and oversees the sharing of immigration intelligence among ASEAN immigration officers. As we are aware, the objective of this forum is to identify immigration intelligence priorities, review the effectiveness of current immigration intelligence process, developing intelligence capabilities. We are gathered here as a family to safeguard the security of our land. As we know, the threats are forthcoming and things are not as used to be. On that note, we want to share with you the slogan of Malaysian Immigration Department, which is sovereignty and security without compromise, which is very apt with this very forum. Sovereignty and security can only be materialized with the mutual cooperation among all of us. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the gist of this forum, it is an obvious fact that none of us can work in silos to combat the ongoing global issues, namely on foreign terrorist fighting, transnational crimes, including human trafficking, drug trafficking, smuggling of migrants, and many more. We need to work hand in hand to combat all these and more. Thus, this forum is a perfect avenue for us to resolve these issues, putting all our hearts and minds together in the interests of ASEAN region. I must say, from Malaysian success story, it is always we had ASEAN sharing information with us to combat most of the issues that we face. ASEAN played a crucial role in this aspect, and we thank you once again for that. We hope that this forum will turn out a productive and open up a new avenues for all of us to find ongoing solution, preventive measures, and any other methods which may render assistance in finding global solutions. Our efforts sought to translate into action with good intention in order to maintain not only our very own country's sovereignty, but ASEAN as a whole for now and the future. Thank you. Okay, I think next we look at our agenda. Which is circulated earlier. I think it is in your folder. Is there any additional agendas to be presented? Or can we agree to these? And if there's any other matters, we can put it under agenda for other matters. So if it's, yes, sir, Brunei.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I would like to add maybe we missed something in the agenda, what the update of the contact list.
Okay.
Of the focal point in the AIIF intelligence or I-24/7 here.
Thank you. Our colleague from Brunei have just requested that we update our focal point list for AIIF, and that can be done later to the Secretariat, so that we have most updated list for our use in future. Thank you. Any other? So I believe we are agreed to proceed. Okay, let's move on to agenda 3. Review updates on AIIF current activities. First, we have a report on salient outcomes of second ASEAN Head of Major Immigration Checkpoint Forum, which will be presented from Malaysia. Please, Dato' Zul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to report on select outcomes of the second forum. The second MSF was held on 6 August 2018 in conjunction with the 22nd DGICM and its related meetings. The forum was chaired by Datuk Muhammad Zulfikar, that is myself, Director of Security and Passport Divisions of the Immigration Department of Malaysia, and was attended by all Asian member states and the Asian Secretariat. The Asian member states shared information on their border checkpoints, namely the entry and exit points at land, sea and air borders. The forum also highlighted on the multi-agency coordination and continuous capability building efforts at the border checkpoints. The Asian member states also reported the implementations and upgrading of their border management system, which included incorporating systems from Interpol, such as Stolen Lost Travel Document, SLTD, Advanced Passenger Information, Biometric Identification, and automated gates in securing their borders. The forum noted the challenges faced by Asian member states at the border checkpoints, such as the increasing number of asylum seekers and refugees, foreign terrorist fighters, FTF's movement, people smuggling and trafficking in person. All these challenges will require more effective use of existing mechanisms to share information to address. The forum discussed on the development and management of the FTF movement database and highlighted that the system would entail principal requirements for a shared database, such as validation rules, data format, security classification, single points of contact, there's interruption, privacy policy and legal issues. The forum noted Malaysia's proposal to address issues related to the establishment of an FTF movement database through a single platform for data sharing and the adoption of established principles and requirements, and to have multilateral agreements among the Asian member states. The forum recalled the objective of ASEAN to intensify the communication among the Asians heads of major border immigration checkpoints. In light of this objective, the forum agreed to set up a WhatsApp group for immediate exchange of information on FTF movement and addressing other cross-border related issues, while continuing the discussion on the development of the FTF database management system. The forum noted and thanked Myanmar announcement to host the third ASEAN. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Zulfikar, for the report. We take note of the report. Any views and comments on that report? I believe some of the delegates were also involved in the other meetings. I think we'll move on for the next agenda. Item 3.2, development of plan of action to implement intelligence data sharing protocol by Philippines. So I have honored to welcome our colleague from Philippines. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Honorable Saravana Kumar Marie Muthu, Chairperson of the 14th AIIF. Distinguished colleagues and delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Fortunato S. Manan Jr. I'm the Chief of the Intelligence Division, Bureau of Immigration, and I'll be reporting on the draft plan of action for the implementation of the Intelligence Data Sharing Protocol, or IDSP. Next slide, please. So, sharing of information between our respective agencies is an efficient strategy to enhance cooperation and coordination in curbing illegal movement of people across our borders and combating transnational crime and terrorism. This has been repeatedly emphasized in important documents we have adopted, including, most importantly, the ASEAN Plan of Action for Cooperation on Immigration Matters, conceptualized during the third DGICM in Yangon, Myanmar, and adopted the following year during the DGICM in Davao City, Philippines. Following up on the sixth AIIF, where we have noted the recommendation to draft a plan of action for the implementation of an intelligence data sharing protocol. Today, the Philippine delegation presents its proposal. Next slide, please. The draft was prepared keeping in mind the overall objective of facilitating real-time and reliable exchange of information between our agencies, thus enhancing individual and collective capacity to facilitate legitimate movement of people across and within its borders, and to prevent, deter, and combat threats of terrorism, transnational organized criminal activities, human trafficking, smuggling, and other illegal migration activities. To achieve this, we shall first aim to undertake the following activities. First is to create committees that shall set guidelines on the processes involved in the establishment of the system, rules on its appropriate usage, and other essential information sharing strategies. Second is to facilitate the establishment of infrastructure and components necessary to share information between ASEAN immigration intelligence agencies. Third is to identify and classify the type of information to be exchanged, including its recipients and ownership. Fourth one is to adopt measures to ensure the highest level of data security and program continuity. And lastly, to establish audit mechanisms, ensuring quality and proper use of all information shared. Next slide, please. We have identified 4 committees essential to the operation of the information sharing system and authorized access to all information therein. First one is the Management Committee to set guidelines pertaining to the establishment of all infrastructure and components necessary to build connectivity and determine levels of access and appropriate use of data. Second is a Data Integrity Committee to examine the quality of information shared through the system. The third one is a Data Security Committee to ensure mechanisms are set to deter unauthorized access to any or all information shared. Fourth one is an Audit Committee to ensure proper use of the system at all times. Infrastructures shall be established to ensure connectivity within the region. With consensus of the community, we shall determine the location of central infrastructure. Prior to establishing separate infrastructures at each member country equipped with components essential to the successful and secure operation of the system. In this regard, we also take this opportunity to call on each member country to be open in sharing necessary assistance, not only in equipment, but also in technical know-how. Next slide. Sharing of information shall be on a need-to-know basis. Thus, we shall identify which type of information will be exchanged. For example, information on stolen and lost travel documents and passports, organizations or persons with linkages of terrorism, human trafficking and smuggling, and persons who are fugitives from justice or have been previously deported or removed from the territory of one ASEAN member country. Next slide. Considering the nature of this information, we must ensure strict control and regulation in the use of the system. We shall endeavor to equip our infrastructures with sophisticated technology that shall deter any attempt or unauthorized access. We shall also determine persons who shall be granted access through a secure enrollment system, who and with appropriate levels of access also identified. Next slide. An audit committee shall be formed to undertake regular checks to ensure quality standards and proper utilization of the system. The committee shall also meet regularly to assess information sharing strategies and recommend enhancements if needed. Next slide. We have also included miscellaneous provisions highlighting each member country's responsibility to, number one, adhere to the prescribed rules and regulations, particularly in handling classified information. This shall be with due regard to our respective national and domestic laws. Second is not to disclose the source of information to outside parties and or the general public. Third, not use information shared in the system as evidence at any legal proceeding. Fourth is to recognize ownership of a source country over any information it shares through the system. Fifth, establish and observe reciprocal exchange of information when any member country is not yet capable to participate or connect to the system. Six, properly identify personnel who shall receive and share information in behalf of a member country. Seven, amicably settle any dispute that may arise from the interpretation and implementation of any guideline or agreement. And eight, equally shoulder cost of the project and find funding arrangements to ensure each member country shall be able to build the necessary infrastructure and related components. Next slide. Indeed, information sharing will further strengthen our linkages as one intelligence community and intensify our efforts to find efficient responses to the many issues and challenges that confront us today. We sincerely hope that we could adopt this plan of action and carry on with its immediate implementation. For the consideration of the honorable members of this body, we have circulated also copies of the draft, and it was submitted to the Secretariat. So again, thank you for your attention.
Thank you for the presentation. It's much weighted detail of the plan. I think it's been quite some time that we are working on this intelligent data sharing protocol. And well done, Philippines, for an outstanding plan. And let's open for discussion, views and comments from member states. Some guidance from ASEAN SEC as well. And any details or any verification, we can ask our friend colleague from Philippines to further elaborate. Oh. I think we are at the right timing right now to decide whether to, I think with the action plan, it's clearly stated where we are heading, and it is important for us to decide to agree to go on with this proposal, or because all the other amendments if it's needed, or we should if it's not necessary to leave the proposal, to abandon the proposal as well. So, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. In regards to the proposal into the 4.1 infrastructure and components there. They said that ASEAN member countries should agree to establish a central infrastructure to facilitate and build connectivity with the region. I think the caretaker is the Philippines, right? Or that is the IDSP. Shall we, I think Mr. Chairman is it if we bring this proposal to the DGICM, just we agreed for this proposal 4.1. So they are already shall agree. Of course, shall agree means that you want to agree or not. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Brunei, for the note. I mean, it's this discussion on this proposal was going on for quite some time, and I think Philippines have come up with good proposal, and we have to give our views whether we are agreed to go for it, or if there is any minor amendments that we need to restructure in terms of the wordings and so on, then we will discuss further. Thanks for the view from Brunei. How about other member states? Because if it's agreed, then we'll carry to our next meeting, DGICM, for endorsement. And it is a crucial time now. Oh. I believe there are certain major decisions that we have to refer back to respective head of departments to get endorsement, mainly in terms of commitment by the member states, particularly in developing the infrastructure, which comes with dollar and cents as well. But other than that, I think we can propose to DGICM to consider on accepting if there is no objection from member states. Yes, Indonesia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As what have you just advised us, Indonesia is in principle agreed, and thank you the Philippines for the excellent arrangement for the draft, the plan of action. But again, as you've mentioned earlier, there are things that needs for us to study all the terms and conditions thoroughly. But in principle, we agree to the plan of action, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues from Indonesia. So we have a few support. Any other views and comment from other member states? Or any clarifications if you need it? So can we agree to bring up this proposal for DGICM to be endorsed tomorrow? Because I think the proposal has been studied for a duration of almost more than 10 years. Yes, please.
From Lao delegate, we have seen that since last year that I was the chair of Intelligence Forum, and at that meeting, the chair tasked Philippines to develop your proposal. So at this meeting, I have seen the progress and development of your proposal. I do agree with Indonesia that in the principle that we agree on the proposal. But when we talk about the infrastructure of each state, that it's relevant to budgets and policy and relevant, decision maker. So from my point of view, I think if Philippines still have another chance to develop your proposal, then I would like Philippines to do the research more on the construction of infrastructure and other issues relevant on that plan or any budgets that relevant to the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Comment from Laos. Yes, sir.
Noted, Mr. Chair, the view and suggestion of our colleague from Laos. Thank you.
Okay, I think we are getting a better momentum now. Probably it will be best if other member state position your stand so then we can progress to the next level of it. Or shall we go, is there any objection from the member of states to pursue this plan of action? So I don't see a no, so it means a yes. I always believe this is a challenging part of it, especially a meeting in the afternoon with a nice meals and to keep all of us awake. It's a very difficult task for the chairman. But I'm trying my very best to make it possible. I think since, is there any other comments from any other member state before we can conclude and progress? Any other views? Okay. It's not final. I think this is a plan of action that we need endorsement from the DGICM. Presented. Once it's been endorsed, I think we have to work on the establishment of the committee as what has been stated in the proposal, plan of action. And then it will take stage by stage for us to progress then. It's a good structured plan that we was anticipating it for quite some time. And this is the time I think we should agree and to progress further for it. So if there is no objection, I accept that we agreed to proceed for DGICM this proposal. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We are progressing quite fast, in fact. So I move on to the next agenda. Other matters? Yes, sir.
And go back, if you allow me to go back to the item 3.1, because I was just trying to digest what was being said there. And if I understand right, and we are proposing to use a WhatsApp platform for sharing of information between the member states. And the information will include sensitive information like FDF movement. Is that my understanding?
FTF is more on the Interpol very structured database from maybe like Interpol or I-24/7. It's just that under each country or just a quick search for any related issues that concerning the Asians. WhatsApp is just for you for assistance on terms of any immigration issues, especially for the border checkpoints. I give you an example. Maybe you would like to inquiry about your, like Malaysian inquiry, our people that travel to your country or other crossing other borders. Maybe we just want to check the movements, but not specifically on the sensitive issues like FTF and everything. Okay.
Thank you, Malaysia, for clarification. Thanks. Can I just want to add, just to share my concern. I believe everyone here will also share the concern that we must, because once we put this WhatsApp platform, there's a tendency over time to be used for many purposes. And we need to be mindful that the WhatsApp platform is not meant for sensitive information, because we know that there are hackers and there are malware in phones. And once a malware goes into your phone, it can read all the messages, and the malware can be transferred from one person to another through the phone, and everyone will be affected. And I'm concerned because if my officers use a phone, an official phone, and we have certain applications to sieve out any virus or malware, but we may not be. We are opening up to, because the whole system of security is tied to the weakest point, and it's difficult to enforce the same rigor across ASEAN member states, because we may have different structures and different systems, whether it's an Android, iPhone, and so on. There are many issues that we need to be concerned about. But I felt that if we got a 24/7, actually that is the quickest way to get the info, because it's a phone call and no one can actually eavesdrop into the conversation. That is my view. I mean, of course, if the WhatsApp can add value besides the 24/7, I'm open to that. But even though if we have a non-sensitive information in WhatsApp, I thought the same can be achieved in 24/7. So in conclusion, what I'm just raising is that my concern is over time, the WhatsApp group may be used for sensitive information over time, and that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Singapore. Rightfully highlighted, I think with current platform smartphone-based applications also have some tendency of security matters breach, security breach. And as rightfully highlighted by Singapore, I think the platform which we have, the I-24/7, is a very good platform, and WhatsApp can be used for clarification, because once we have two mechanisms which to use, then again we'll take note of that consideration to be back to the ASEAN main checkpoint forum to further decide on that. But I think everyone here, we are very concerned on issue of security breach, especially in the era of smartphones. Yes, any other views on that? But I believe there are many communication taking place, whether bilateral or multilateral, using those apps, whether it's WhatsApp or Viber or Line, etc., etc. Any other views on that? Yes, ASEAN sir.
Mr. Chair, just to follow on the presentation on the draft POA by the Philippines colleague, just a matter of procedure in this case. What would be the way forward expected after this submission of the plan of action? Whether the Philippines colleagues actually is expecting inputs from other ASEAN member states on this draft, and if so, what would be the timeline so that this initiative can move forward?
Okay, shall we fix a timeline? How long you need from Philippines?
Mr. Chair, maybe 1 month.
Oh, okay. 1 month. So every member state have to give their views and comments on the proposed plan of action. So within 1 month from today's date. Any views? You need longer or longer duration? Because I believe there is some serious consideration in terms of commitment by the state government in terms of financial and infrastructure development as well. So can we agree to a duration, probably 3 months or 6 months or 1 month? Yes. colleague from Cambodia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Regarding to the timing for a proposal and a plan of action of IDSP, in principle we agree with the POA. However, with the timing for Cambodia, at least we need like 3 months to propose, because the data sharing protocol, we are not just to get permission from our Department of Immigration, but also the ministry as well. And at least after the DGICM, when we go back. Thank you.
Okay, we take note the duration request by Cambodia. How about other countries? Because some have to bring back to AGC's office, Atenary's office, to get permission in terms of data sharing. Yes, Singapore.
Can I propose that to ensure we give a more fruitful feedback, may I propose maybe at least minimally 6 months?
6 months.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, can we agree for 6 months? Or any member states request more than that, a year? A year means then we'll meet again in next AIF meeting to decide to move on with the plan of action or not. I think 6 months is fairly a reasonable duration for, I think, all the member states to get consent from the relevant parties. I believe when involvement sharing of information, you also have to look into the legal aspect of it, and 6 months should be a good duration. So can we agree to that, 6 months, to get member states' response? So I don't see any objections. 6 months is fair enough? Okay, I think we agreed to that, to have a 6 months duration for all the member states to give their views and outcomes, and also relevant concern for us to move on the plan of action. Thank you. Before we proceed to Agenda 4, is there any other matter under Agenda 3 that we need to review, revise, or views or comments? Okay, I think then we progress to from Indonesia. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to clarify regarding the Agenda 3.1. So what was the result again? On using WhatsApp?
Using WhatsApp and alternative mode of communication.
Just now we only discussed about one of mechanism of communication, that is WhatsApp. We also can use any other related mechanism of communications, like emails, telephone call, or anything. Just that to start the ball rolling, Mr. Chairman. That's why we propose as now. In fact, some of the countries as now, they also reply that that's maybe not WhatsApp, because some of the countries, they don't use WhatsApp application. That is the. But so far, if we propose to initiate on the WhatsApp group, just like our friends from Singapore said, it's not on sensitive or very confidential information sharing. It's just a matter of contact for us to communicate or to follow up on any other immigration matters and assistance. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Malaysia. I think to further emphasize the main mode of communication will be 24/7, which is more direct to the major entry/exit points, the information request. But I believe that many social medias or platforms like WhatsApp and being used But it's up to the member states to decide the avenue to be used to communicate. But I think fundamentally it's been agreed that the telephone communication through 24/7 is been in practice for years, just to value add when you have an alternative option to use in case you need a quick details or information and you can't reach a particular office in time via phone calls.
Mr. Chairman, may I? If we use phone calls, we may not speak to the persons in charge. You know, it's a matter of time. This is more on a networking basis, and in terms of communications channel.
Thank you for the clarification. Any other views on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to reiterate that, yes, of course, the security is all of us. We have a main concern on that. And so I believe even if we use the WhatsApp group, I believe so the main participant or the participants of the WhatsApp group would be the heads of immigration checkpoints, or heads of major immigration checkpoints, which I believe most of them would have a sense of security. And again, as have been said earlier, this platform is not going to be used well, hopefully, and I think hopefully when we set up this platform, there's going to be a clear, protocols of what to share and what not to share. Because if we talk about security, even a phone calls can be tapped, can be recorded, and can be shared as well. So it depends on those who receive the information itself. But in this case, I think if we can trust our heads of immigration checkpoints to have that sense of security and can consider what are the things that can be shared or not to share. So again, the main idea of the WhatsApp group is just an instant media for heads of major immigration checkpoints to network, so they can immediately share information. Because with Immigration 24/7, you have to get into the system in order to retrieve information, to share information. Well, we can't deny in this era of technology and with the era of mobility, it's easier for us to use the available means, such as WhatsApp or any other means, to communicate instantly. But again, I do agree that the things that can be shared is restricted on WhatsApp group. That one I agree. So, but again, I think because with the same idea, the evolving, the high mobility, the quick evolving issues on immigration as well, I think any means that can facilitate quick share of information, including WhatsApp, unless it's something restricted, something classified, I think can be used for our communication. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, colleague from Indonesia, for your view, and also from Malaysia. I think we've discussed quite lengthy on use of WhatsApp and the issues concerned on that. As been said, sometimes when we call the general lines, you don't get to speak to the right person. And having the mobile phone and probably WhatsApp or whatever, any other mode of communication, it's being like a directory of all the important key personnel of handling major entry-exit points. So the information can be directly to the respective person. And I believe the member states and the officials have their best views and concern on the information shared. If it's not suitable to be shared on WhatsApp, probably they can use of other mode of communication. But WhatsApp is probably a way of just grouping them together to have the access who's in the group. And any other mode of communication, it should be based to bilateral. I think the usual practice that is been in use usually is bilateral arrangement that we will call directly to the chief of the checkpoint authority to exchange or get details on that. So I agree that we don't put WhatsApp as the major or the main mode of communication, but it should be supporting to get us, and there will be some information that can be shared to all, especially some alerts and so on, which is widely been circulated. Or I mean, we also receive many circulation on forged document patterns and so on. So those information is probably a good way for us to share through this mode of communication. And we agree that we'll still remain with our 24/7 method, and WhatsApp become an additional option for us to communicate and to put all the relevant people in one group. Thank you. Any other views on that? Any response from Malaysia, the chair? Thank you, Dato' Zul. Yes, please, Vietnam.
Yes, for Vietnam, I think it's the option to use the WhatsApp group to share and exchange information. And we also agree that WhatsApp should be used as the additional tool, yes, format to share and exchange information. And one thing, because of language barrier, so some had immigration checkpoint in our country, maybe they do not use English. So at the main checkpoint, there should be designated focal point who authorized to use WhatsApp to share and exchange information. Yeah, and one thing, along with using WhatsApp to share or exchange information, we should utilize a combination of other tools, existing tools we have already, immigration 24/7, or email list of DGICM leader or AIIF focal points. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, colleague from Vietnam, for your views and concern. The mode of, or the language becoming a barrier for communication for some of us. But I think in general, WhatsApp communication, we use English. And as recommended by Vietnam, to appoint a focal point to share the information. But I think I shall leave it to the member states on the arrangement, so that because each member states have their own sets of rules and regulations on the mode of sharing of information. And if some of the checkpoint chiefs able to share directly from them, that's fair enough. If they can't, then probably they can appoint a focal point. So I think we can leave it to each member states to decide on the domestic arrangement, who should be in the group and what should be shared. And I strongly believe that all of us here and our colleagues who are on duty now are fully aware of the security breach and threats that is available on the smartphones. So we have to give a try, but as rightfully reminded by our colleague from Singapore, that we have to be cautious about what we are sharing, what is the level of the information being shared in those social medias. Can we agree to that? Thank you. Okay, we are done with 3.1 and we have closed with 3.2. We move on to agenda 4, other matters. I was informed that our colleagues from Laos have a presentation to share. So may I invite our colleague from Laos?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So maybe only me to share here for this presentation. Thank you for giving the floor. Now, PDR would like to share some information regarding to AIF that we hosted last year. So I'm as the representative of delegate who attend this meeting. First of all, we would like to say thank you very much and highly appreciation for the host country to provide us a warmly welcome and excellent arrangement. Thank you for that. So let me go to my presentation. That in this presentation I will cover 6 main points here. First one, touch on legislation that Lao PDR had utilized now. Second one, I will inform who in charge of intelligence section in Lao PDR, and of course another point is talking about control system of the border and data and the case that we would like to share here, and another point is capacity building, and the last one is cooperation. Yes. So next slide, please. Currently, that we have the law as the tool for law immigration that we operate our job that we call Law on Immigration and Foreign Management, that number 59, that approved by National Assembly. Yes. In this law, there are a lot, many parts that I already listed here. We have Part 3, Border Management and Protection, and of course we have some article that already defined here, but of course I will not go into the detail of this one. Please go to the next slide. The section that we have performed our job here, we have IT division that based at the head office. They are the division that collect the data of the passenger and also require the data from local checkpoint regarding to illegal immigration or traveling of the passenger. At the headquarters, we also have we call compliance division. This division in charge of we call intelligence section. That when the passenger or visitor enter the country, then this division will be in charge of collecting of on the information of entry and departures. Yes, and also searching for any offender of the immigration law, such as overstay and illegal working, for example. Yes. Another division in charge of intelligence or information sharing is internal and external immigration cooperation division. This division also works as the focal point of ASEAN member state that all colleagues from ASEAN can contact this division regarding to even lost and stolen passport and also illegal immigrant, including deportation. Yes. And also at the checkpoint, international checkpoint that we have in IT unit that they are in charge of also input the data of passengers coming, also input the alert list at international checkpoint. Yes. Another point that I have listed here, we talk about border control system that currently Lao immigration has used window platform as the passport control data collection. At the headquarters, we have a central database that we can connect to the checkpoint, and of course we can, require the information sharing in the real time. Yes. The real-time transfer by fiber optic cable for connection between the headquarters and the international checkpoint from local province. Passenger data collected by passport scanner with now we have implemented e-passport and border control of the system. This can read the e-passport and normal passport, as well as we call border pass. Maybe just some ASEAN country we have used border pass, like Laos or some neighboring country like Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam as well. That another times of traveling document. This is the statistic or the cases that we have detected this year. So in the list that you have seen, sorry for very small, font, but the summarize is the total we have detected 84, and there are the list of nationality here. We're starting from Cambodian, Chinese, Cameroon, German, Indian, Coast, the Ivoire, and Mali. This is all the case we have detected this year, and we categorize in people smuggler, illegal entry, overstay case, and fake traveling document that have used by those offenders. Yes, we also have seen the case of, passport fake by biodata substitution. Yes. Another slide I would like to share with the human trafficking detection that we have detected mainly at Wat Thai International Airport. So the background of this cases that we have, now can be origins of the victim, the origin of the country. The method of trafficking, we have seen increasing cases of fake marriage and high income payment. That mostly those victims are trafficked to China by finding the local women and arrange the fake marriage. Yes. So we have seen the statistic here from 2017 to 2018. We have detected the total number 197, and we have detected 4 males, mainly detected at Vientiane Airport, and we received 51 people from Thailand, South Korea, Malaysia, and Singapore. Those are the victims of human trafficking. The recent case that I have just mentioned before, that we detected this case on 17 May 2018. A Chinese person used South Korean passport, tried to entry to Laos by biodata substitution and arranged by smuggler from South Korea. Yes. And this slides, we have seen that verifier that can detect and identify the genuine and the fake person. Yes. Another slide that I will move on the capacity building. Just one example, recently we hosted document examination funded by Department of Home Affairs of Australia that joint technical training from 15 to 17 June 2018. This is a quite good example of a joint training because there's some trainer come from different embassy, like US Embassy, German Embassy, British Embassy and Australian Embassy. Those trainers come to join the training. So we save time and we can learn a lot from the trainer. Yep. Regarding to the domestic training, we have conducted yearly. You can see the number here. We organized a training in some provinces that we have seen: Vientiane Province, Luang Prabang Province, Udom Sai Province, Luang Nam Ta Province, and of course total number of training we have conducted 4 times, and there are 113 attendees. Yeah, and of course we support the female for the training as well. Another project now, Lao Immigration have worked with IOM that funded by Canadian government. We have conducted induction training, and now we proceed to the TOT, or training through trainer, is a very good example, and it can be sustainable development for capacity building. Yes. So this is the last slide that we come to the end of intelligent cooperation. Now Lao Immigration, we have worked closely with all ASEAN member states regarding to information and intelligence sharing. We have AIIF focal point. Apart from that, we have worked also with Interpol, National Contact Point. So the project of I-24/7, the project now still under the process, and we intend to install the system in 3 international checkpoints. Yes. So this is my last presentation, and for more information, you can, if you would like to know any more, then you can contact my division, that I'm in charge of intelligence head for Immigration Department of Lao PDR. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleague from Lao PDR, for your short and report on activities being undertaken by Lao PDR. Very impressive and a good piece of information in terms of intelligence sharing as well. Once again, thank you. Next, we move on to our agenda on other matters. Is there any other matters to be raised up in this agenda? Yes, please, Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Before, I would like to introduce you first. My name is Yanis, just call me Yanis. This is first time for me to join this activity actually. Well, my position is Director of Intelligent Immigration, Directorate General of Immigration, Ministry of Human Rights. What I want to info to you all actually, just this is a sharing only, in Asian spirit actually, talking about there are some people from, especially from Indonesia, and as far as I know from other countries too, like in this group, who apply for asylum seekers, especially in Japan. Especially in Japan. I guess this is one of a matter for us, for intelligent community. Because from year to year, there is an increasing for this. Most of them are workers, and even some of them are travelers who, what we say, tourists actually, but a domestic worker and also some tourists. They go to Japan and finally they work there and finally they apply for asylum. And amount of them is not small actually. This is as additional matters actually. I think it's important to know for you all because in Asian spirit for us. And the second one is talking about data sharing for intelligence by using WhatsApp. My friend has said just now that agree, and basically I agree too. What should be known actually, what kind of data should be shared, what kind of data actually. Talking about, for instance, like FTF, foreign terrorism fighters, especially in Indonesia, there is what we say PNPT, Terrorism Combating National Agency. I don't know about in your country. But there is a connection, a good connection between immigration, and BNPT in Indonesia. But when we are making a group, WhatsApp group, I agree very much actually. And it's important for us to inform, to share each other. I got make a good cooperation with like South Korea and even some others also from Malaysia. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, colleague from Indonesia. Rightfully highlighted, I think one of our objective of this forum is to share informations and modus operandi of syndicated activities which is going on. And our friend from Indonesia have just shared a very good information. Once again, thank you on behalf of the forum to Indonesia for sharing such information to us. Okay, we shall move forward. Any other sharings from any other member states? Okay, to move on, from the past AIIF report on the 13th of the 13th AIIF report was a proposal from Brunei on changing, rename our forum AIIF to ASEAN Immigration Intelligence Meeting, and this matter should be discussed. Whether we, what is the next course of action that we want to undertake under this proposal. Probably it's good to get views from Brunei on the proposal, since some of us are probably new to this meeting today, and we don't get the information. So I invite Brunei to share their proposals, some insights, so that we can further discuss on the proposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, last year, 2017, Brunei just to propose the AIIF change to renaming AIM. This is the rationale of just to rename this instead of forum, change to meeting. Now, as we also know that we have the AMICF. And then in the AMICF, they also present the border checkpoint, what is the action, and to share all the information in the border checkpoint. Now, before the meeting, all the information is shared in this meeting, AIIF. When look back to we just heard just now from Indonesia, they're sharing regarding the asylum seekers. And then also Lau give the presentation. Regards to this, is it this all the information, are you going to still discuss in the AIF or just leave it to the AMICF? These two. That's why. What I mean is all the information then shared back again to the AIF. It means that the AIF going to decide what is the way forward. Maybe maybe the proposal next. Maybe we have the working group and everything. So maybe this renaming the AIM, we want to look what is the way forward from the AIF or AIM if we renaming. So this working group will look into it. This is our it's more easy. We have a meeting for the AIF meeting here, but we look into the very deep, not just share information. Very deep. What is we're going to action on it? Because the MICF going to report to AIF, maybe there is another new working group, again, report to the AIF. So what is the rule of this AIF now? So if we change to, renaming to the AIM, so we have new TOR, of course. And then what is our point of view? Maybe we want to discuss it here, maybe in terms of intelligence in deep, okay? Or ask back to the working group or the forum, another forum, or maybe the other MICF or other to discuss again. This is, we don't want to duplicate this one actually. Okay, because as I said before, AIF, this forum, every MS give all the information. Just give the information, just sharing the information, just sharing the intelligence. How's it the movement now? Since development of MICF, so everything share in the MICF. The MICF report to the AIF. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you, colleague from Brunei. I believe the proposal which was reported previous AIF, and today the proposal is to, if it's accepted and agreed by all the member states, for us to establish a working group to look into the proposal and also to go through the new term of reference for the establishment of AIIM. Any other views? Any views from ASEAN SEC? I believe most of us will have the question of the scope of forum and what is going to be the scope of meetings. Because usually in meetings we make decisions. In forums we share information.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's just a matter of process that we would like to probably share with colleagues around the table. Since the AIIF was established through a TOR that was adopted, it's almost in 2006 by the 10 DGICM. So any change to the AIIF would be advisable to go through revision or review of the TOR, whether it would be transformed or be reshaped to a different forum, or do we just simply be rename the forum to some other name, like into a meeting. I think the first step we need to do, this is first as a suggestion to the group today, is to revisit or to review the TOR, and perhaps reviewing not just by means of changing the name, but perhaps also to relook at the entire TOR, because the TOR was established in 2006, and there's so many developments since the establishment of this forum until today. I think that's our first response to Brunei's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you from ASEAN SEC on the views on the proposal. AIIF is on the 14th session we are here today, and I think next is 15 years of celebration will be a good year to relook on what are the objectives that AIIF was established and the way forward that we are moving towards. The many achievement has been recorded, and it's probably a revisit. And I think today's meeting we can express views and concerns whether to move on with the proposal. If we agree to the proposal, then we agree to establish a working group to relook into the aspects that have been reported. Any other views? To establish a working group to, yes, please.
As Lao PDR, last year we hosted 13 AIF and we heard the proposal by Brunei regarding to rename of AIF into the AIM. And as the chair, last year we have heard some positive comment from some ASEAN member states. This is the information that I would like to share here about the rename of AIF to AIM. And the meeting last year also tasked for, Brunei to develop the idea and of course continue to propose in the 14 AIF. And I think the information are already included in the summary report of AIF last year. Thank you.
Thank you, colleague from Lao PDR. Any other views? If not, we'll move on to establish. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For Cambodia, in principle, we don't mind to just rename, but then what is the purpose behind that? And also we need to look into what is the role, the new role, like the ASEAN Sec just mentioned that we need to review the whole TRO, which was established in 2006. So it wouldn't be anything for Cambodia, just in principle, we agree to propose to DGICM in order to establish the working group to study, to review about the TO of AIIF. Another thing is it would be an idea as well because we got AMICF, which reported to AIIF right now. And also, I would remind you that Cambodia is, which was proposed, Cambodia proposed ASEAN Immigration Training Committees, which we could take this opportunity to have the ASEAN Immigration Training Committee to be reported to AIIM if possible, like if we all agree to rename it. So this is just an idea and a part of the renaming or reviewing the TRO. So in principle, we agree to propose to DGICM to have a working group to review and study the role of the AIIF right now. And yeah, that's all for Cambodia. Thank you.
Thank you, Cambodia, for the view. Just a quick question for Laos. On the feedback stated that is most of the ASEAN members was given a positive support. Was there any concern registered for not to pursue? No. Okay, thank you, Cambodia, thank you, Laos PDR. If we agreed, then I think we propose to the DGICM. Before I proceed, is there any other views from any member state? Then I think we agreed to propose to establishment of working group to relook the TOR and also the renaming of AIF to AIIM. Okay, thank you. Any other matters that any member state would like to highlight? Okay, I don't see any response, so I believe we can move on to our next agenda. Agenda item number 5. Just a quick one, is there any before we move on to agenda number 5? Okay, so if everyone is happy, all right. We move on to agenda item number 5, consideration and adoption of the summary report of the 14th AIF. Response from, I think we'll pass this to ASEAN SEC to respond, and I'll do a summary of it later.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Similar to the previous years, at the end of this meeting, the ASEAN filed the first draft of the summary report to the chair, Malaysia in this case, for the chair to review. Upon the first review of the chair, then the chair will circulate the draft summary report to the ASEAN member state for feedback and inputs within the certain period, usually 2 weeks. And feedbacks and inputs to the draft summary report should be submitted directly to the chair and for then final adoption. Thank you.
Thank you, ASEAN SEC, for the update, and which will be report the outcome of our today's meeting for tomorrow's DGICM session. And I think next to our agenda will be the agenda 7, which is 6, the closing remark. We are moving. Okay, we have some concern by Brunei.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. If I may just raise up of the provisional agenda today. At new, not new. There is one agenda, the review of the contact
Points, yes. Okay, we'll put that under other matters. Yeah. Agenda to update the contact list.
Because I just want to highlight here, when I look into this case, some of the focal person here is not around here.
Not in the list.
Usually we have updates already, the email already to the secretariat, but still don't ask me here.
Okay.
Our previous immigration DG. So if I may, I just to maybe to the secretariat, just to update here, ASEAN, the Focal Point Intelligence Forum, and also the immigration hotline contact point. Or maybe other country also don't have here, even the Myanmar, Philippines, don't have on the list. So if I may, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
This one actually for the group WhatsApp. Thank you.
Thank you, colleague from Brunei. I request right after this meeting that we update our details and contact points for the secretariat to update the directory and to be shared hopefully by tomorrow, so the list will be updated. Sometimes we get the list in advance, and occasionally we get the list during the meetings, and rarely we get it towards the end of the meeting. So we believe this meeting to be a rare one. So hopefully I request all the member states to update the contact list to the secretariat so that we can provide the updated list, because all the important contacts are there to any other mode of communication. And this is our platform to always update and to the latest version of context.
Mr. Chair, just to share some details on the contact point list. This contact point list is regularly updated, and updates are to be submitted by the ASEAN member state to the chair of the AIIF. And if our recollection is correct here, Malaysia, as the chair of the AIIF, prior to this meeting, has circulated the latest list for updates, with the understanding that inputs and updates from the ASEAN member state can still be provided throughout this week while delegates are here present for the DGICM. So all the information and updates to this list should be provided directly to instead of the ASEAN Secretariat, it should be to the Secretariat of the Chair, the Secretariat of the AIIF Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So please give the updated list for us to update, to circulate as soon as possible. Okay, any other matters before I proceed? So it seems that we are very efficient and effectively managed to run through the meetings, and thanks to all of you. And to all the delegates and ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the closure of the ASEAN Immigration Intelligence meeting, and it's been a pleasure to have chaired this meeting with the presence of all my colleagues from ASEAN. Just to record, we have looked at the development of a plan of action to implement the intelligence data sharing protocol from our counterpart. And we have agreed to have a duration of 6 months to provide our detailed views and comments and get relevant consent to it. And also thanks to our colleague from Philippines for preparing such a wonderful plan of action. And it was indeed a good sharing session. And next also the proposal of changing the name of ASEAN Intelligence Immigration Forum to ASEAN Intelligence Immigration Meeting. It was a good proposal, and we thank Brunei for actually initiating it for the first place. And it is high time for us to move on from forum to meeting, and this could give us a space for decision-making process in the future. In short, it was a good deliberation, and may we see the fruit of this proposal soon. In conclusion, the main objective of AIIF, which is sharing of immigration intelligence among the ASEAN immigration officers, has been achieved in this forum. And we have identified immigration intelligence priorities, received the effectiveness of current immigration intelligence process, and develop immigration intelligence capabilities for future. With that, I thank you, and I wish you have a wonderful stay in Malaysia. And this is a month of August, which we celebrate our National Day on 31st of August. And our colleagues from Singapore will have it earlier on the 9th. So happy Independence Day to Singapore as well. And with that, I thank you, all of you, and wish you all the best. Thank you.